Hi, I'm Darla Rowley. I'm the owner of Impact Interior Design Solutions, where we turn for sale into sold on a super low budget. What I want to show you today is how we transitioned a home from ugly duckling to beautiful resellable property. We used quick, inexpensive fixes and made a dramatic impact. Hi, this is Darla from Impact Interior Design Solutions, and what I want to talk to you about today is curb appeal, and it is a critical part of the marketing process of selling a house. As you can see from this house, we need a little bit of dolling up to do in order to make it warm and inviting and interesting and compelling. So it is a marketing tool, and it is a critical factor in trying to sell your house. I understand more than anybody that when people are selling their houses, they don't have a big budget. So what we have to do is stretch our budget for the maximum amount of impact. And for example, in this house, we're talking about curb appeal. So I'm going to identify a few little things that we're going to do to address to make this house look more charming, more inviting, and we're going to do it on a super low budget. For example, when you look at the dead plants in the corner, we're going to clean this up. We have some steps that have some repair work. This is going to show up on an inspection anyway, so we need to make sure that we address this for the home seller so that they don't have to address that problem later. The landscape itself, the edging and the grass and the flower beds here obviously are empty and void of interest or appeal, and also the edging itself could be cleaned up very, very cost effectively. These are simple projects that people can do on their own for virtually no budget. Some fresh mulch, maybe a large planter or a new plant would add a lot of appeal to this house. As you look up the stairs, you have the mailbox. It's kind of rusty and tattered, and the location isn't very good. The numbers are equally as bad. So these are all important things that add a lot of drama when handled appropriately. Another reason why all of these details are so important is it leaves the buyers with a positive first impression. If you don't take care of the small details, then you're going to leave them with an impression before they even get in the house that the house isn't taken care of. So it's really important to take care of small stuff before they even walk in the door. For example, in this house we have some damaged paint around the doorwork and stuff like that. That's as simple as somebody fiddling with a lockbox. All they have to look at are these flaws and imperfections. So you have to make sure it's right even before they get in the door. As we go through our project, what I want to show you is the importance of staging and where do we start with the design plan. So the first impression is obviously the curb appeal, but the second thing is going to be when they walk into this living room. The problem with this living room as I see it is it's got a little bit of an odd shape because it's very square. And it's not real clear to see where will the furniture go in this space. Initial thoughts would be that, it's a really small space and there's not going to be room for a normal size sofa, those type of things. So the aspect of staging will clearly paint the picture for a buyer and leave no questions in their mind. I always feel like it's important to show where does the TV go, where does the computer go in a house, so that people can start to understand how they can live in a house. We will address some minor updates in this room by doing something with the window treatments, and we're also going to do something with the floors. In researching the house, we found out that the floors actually are hardwood underneath and are in great condition. And so we are going to have the floors refinished. Now, to save on money, we're going to do that by just refinishing them with a natural color, because staining is a little bit more expensive than natural. And with this vintage of house, that's completely acceptable. The price point of the house is not going to be a high-end home. It's a modest home, so we want to make sure that all of the updates and repairs and the things that we do with staging reflect the neighborhood and the community that it's in. So this room will have a lot of wow factor when we are completed, and I can't wait to show you the results when we're done. I want to show you about this bathroom makeover we're doing in this house. Obviously our sellers don't have a big budget and we have to work with what we have. So we're going to leave the white tile, we're going to leave the existing vanity, and we're going to do, first of all, we're going to get it sparkly clean. That's free. That's just elbow grease. That's what any seller can do to add a positive attribute to a not so great space, regardless if it's a bathroom, a bedroom, any space in the house. The other thing that we're actually going to do is we're actually going to paint this space. We're going to add a fun color. That's going to create some personality, warmth, and charm in the space. This is the only bathroom in this space, so it needs to make a big impression. Some updated lighting is going to be a really inexpensive investment in making this whole ensemble feel much more current than it does currently. We're also going to remove the vanity, which is obviously very dated and it's a little weathered and worn. So that's not, at this point, is not adding any value to this transaction. So that will be removed. My personal philosophy is if it doesn't add value, we take it out. The shutters are going to be removed because once we introduce some natural light, the space is also going to feel bigger, brighter, cheerier. So all of those things are really important, regardless of what space you're staging. This is the dining room. And as you can see, it's not very big. So what we need to do here is just make it feel super charming. And obviously we're going to start with a new light fixture and removing the fan. We're probably going to do something with the window treatments. You know, my philosophy about window treatments and most other things in staging is if it's not adding value, we remove it. So right now this isn't working, so we're going to do something with that. We're going to bring in a cute table, some accessories, and probably a bold piece of art, something here to add some dramatic impact. The kitchen is a big project that we're working on today, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to do a whole makeover on this kitchen. And how we came to that determination is we looked at the option of refacing or repainting, but bottom line it comes down to function. And you can paint and put lipstick on a pig per se, I say that all the time, but in this case that's not going to add any value. There's not a lot of cabinets to work with to begin with, so it's not going to be a big investment to replace them. The other thing is the function of the kitchen. Every kitchen has a function properly, and again, it doesn't matter what the price point of the house is. If the kitchen does not function properly, it's going to have a negative effect on the saleability of the house. So we're going to use new cabinets so we can put a dishwasher installed, and they're going to be a little bit deeper than our existing cabinets. So that actually opens a whole new ball of wax of problems for this kitchen because the doorway here is right where the cabinet base would go. So in this case, we're going to actually have to reframe the doorway as well to accommodate the deeper cabinets. Simple fix, because all we're going to do is remove the molding and the trim work here and we'll have the space that we need. On the other side of the kitchen, we're going to actually add a pantry, we're going to add a base, we're going to add a stove, a place for a microwave hood, and some cabinetry all around to actually add a ton of function to this kitchen. So the pantry is critical. Wherever you can add a pantry to a kitchen space, it's really, really important. It's a value-added proposition for a buyer. Visually, this kitchen is going to have a gourmet look when we're done, and it's going to be done on a super low budget. The basement is a really important part of the selling process. We need to make sure it is not neglected. Just like the other rooms in the house, every aspect of the house needs to be addressed. And in this case, if you were to walk down this basement, you would actually be probably afraid. So we need to make sure that it feels clean, neutral, inviting, and ready for the next homeowner. Welcome to the master bedroom, if you can believe it or not. This room needs obviously a lot of work. It has an altogether different kind of wow factor, and we're not talking good. This room needs to be appealing to a buyer. There's not very good lighting in this space. The multiple wall finishes, the damaged wallpaper, the awful linoleum, and the carpet swatches. I don't even know what that is. But the point is that this room really needs some TLC in order for people to see the possibilities that it has to offer. Because without it, they are going to run away from this house. This house actually has really good bones and really great square footage, but this room itself is a deal breaker. We're going to turn it into a deal maker. Anytime you're selling your house, curb appeal is critical. And in this house, we needed a little TLC to give it a little bit of charm and personality. It is really, really important that when people walk up to the house or they see that image on the MLS listing, that it has a positive first impression. You don't want to have people do a drive-by and then just keep on driving. So it's important to pull them in and make an impression. And we want it to be a good one. When you're addressing curb appeal, you have to make cost-effective choices, just like the rest of the house. So what we did here is we actually started with edging the flower beds, creating balance by making another bed on the other side of the walkway, and by adding 2 medium-sized shrubs. If you got shrubs that were too small, you wouldn't even see them from the curb, so why bother? So we try to get shrubs that were of a mature size already. And then we added some seasonal flowers and a bird bath for charm and character. When we started out with this project, this room and the rest of the bedrooms had a purple commercial grade carpeting. So we actually removed that so that we could expose the hardwood floors. In these vintage homes, the hardwood adds a lot of value. So whenever you can, you want to uncover it. We had them refinished and voila, they look fabulous. So they're going to add a ton of value for our prospective buyer. The other thing that we talked about at the beginning of our shoot was the fact that this room is a little bit of an odd configuration. Where do you put the television in the space for today's lifestyle? So it's really important, in my professional opinion, that we demonstrate where we use the TV in this room. So we actually hung a wall-mounted television, just like most people would do today, and then created a cozy and inviting living space where people could entertain and have intimate conversations. The most important thing about bathrooms is that they're clean. So the first thing that we're going to do or talk about is, regardless of your budget, make sure that you clean your bathroom so that it's white glove clean. Inside the cabinets, as well as all of the other elements, the grout, the tile, etc. The other thing that we actually did in this bathroom is we actually replaced the light fixture, we removed the medicine cabinet, and we removed the dated shutters that were on the window. We added some decorative accessories, some towels, and a shower curtain that actually bring the personality in the space. But the biggest impact item we did in this space was actually adding a fashion color to the wall. This is what I consider to be a bold neutral color. This is a good rule of thumb for whenever you're in doubt for a paint color. Bold neutrals are always winners. In the dining room, we didn't do much. We did a repair project for the floor, and then we also just brought in a little bit more current table and chairs. We also brought in some color through the accessories and the new curtains that we added, and a piece of art. Kitchens are critical to selling a house. They can either make a deal or break a deal. In this kitchen, we started out with an extremely dated configuration. It was totally unfunctional. So not only was it ugly, but it just didn't work. In the old configuration, we didn't even have room for a dishwasher. So as you can see, when we did our remodel, we actually incorporated a dishwasher, which is a really, really important selling feature for our buyers. In addition, we were able to use a granite product that will add a ton of value. The difference between the granite and the laminate for this kitchen was probably only $300 or $400. So with that big of a difference, you need the wow factor and the marketing value of saying granite in your MLS listing notes. So it's really, really important if you can incorporate granite right now, and it will add value every time. The way the kitchen was designed before, the stove just sat in the middle of the kitchen with nothing on either side of it. So it was actually quite a hazard for buyers and anybody who would use a stove. So we built in a lot of function, leaving enough space for a large refrigerator, a gas stove, and a microwave hood combination. In the basement, we had a lot of work to do, and it was really just cleaning and getting rid of the things that weren't necessary. Through adding paint on the floors and painting the walls, we created a bright and cheerful place. All I can say about this space is dungeon be gone. This room, we did a major makeover. If you remember when we first started out, it was quite scary. We put new carpet, neutralized the paint color, and created a quiet, restful retreat. Now, this room adds a ton of value. In this room, we took some creative cues and really combined a lot of different finishes so that they all would come together with paint. We took knotty pine, old wallpaper, we had lots of different types of trim and lots of colors of trim. We had paneling and more. So by unifying them with one economical coat of paint, we made the room feel cohesive. Neutral carpet is another thing that we have to look at. Is when the buyer moves in, they need to make sure that this carpet will go with any kind of decor that they have. So it's move-in ready. You are not even going to believe that this is the same room that we saw 2 weeks ago. Thanks again for spending time with us today. If you'd like to read more about Impact Interior Design Solutions, to learn more about our company and the work that we do, I suggest that you go to impactids.com. And thanks again.